right, hello YouTubers. How's everybody doing? Well, I hope. Welcome to another episode of Sailing Lima Charlie. If you'll recall in the last one, I told you we were going to be hauling out, and that's what we're going to be doing here in a couple of days, but I've got a little bit of prep that I've got to do first before they put the boat in the sling. If you'll recall, I said that we were going to be replacing the stuffing box, or at least the team at the boatyard is going to replace the stuffing box. While they're doing that, I'm going to, with my lovely wife, I'm going to be repainting the boot stripe, prepping, sanding, painting, you know, that whole routine. The boot stripe, and we're going to also repaint the rudder with an antifoul paint, the strut, and we're also going to paint along the water line below the boot stripe. However, we're not going to paint the entire area of the boat below the water line because that was done just a year and a half ago. But I do want to reinforce the rudder, the strut, and the bow of the boat where the most water rushes over and causes that paint to deteriorate. So let me tell you about a stuffing box, and I'll let you see what this looks before, and then I'll show you an after shot once this is all done in the boatyard. So the stuffing box is a bearing that's located at the very back of the boat. I don't know how well you can see it from here, but we're going to get a closer shot. But the way that this stuffing box is designed is that it is a kind of a bearing, and it is stuffed, hence the term stuffing box. It is stuffed with a waxed rope, and the idea of how this bearing works is that it is designed to allow a drop of water, of seawater, about every 15 to 30 seconds when the engine is running. And it serves as that seawater serves as a lubricant to the bearing to keep it from overheating. Now, because the current stuffing box and bearing that's in there is so old and corroded, it's no longer functioning correctly, so we're going to replace the entire assembly. So come back with me here to the hole, and let's take a closer look at stuffing box. Welcome to the hole. And that is the stuffing box that you can see there. You can see the prop shaft as it's attached to the back of the engine. It goes up there, and that's where the stuffing box attaches. And hopefully you can see where that all exits out the back of the boat. So that entire assembly that you see there from back to front with all the clamps and everything is going to be replaced. And that's our next task at hand. So just when you think the work is never done, or just when you think that the work is done, it is not. So that's the characteristics of a boat. The work is never done. So stay with me and let's get down to the boatyard. it's quite an operation. So while I'm walking around the boatyard down here, I had to come over and take a look at these craft. Given the color and the numbering and on, I would guess that these are military owned, probably Navy. But it's got solar panels, embedded here on the bow, and the motor is an electric torpedo with a plastic prop, or it looks like plastic. No, it's metal. Anyway, kind of interesting, huh? Probably can be remotely controlled based on what I'm seeing up top. All right, folks, here we are in the boatyard. This is the final day. We've been here for 4 days now. Went in last Thursday and today is Sunday. So we are finished with the project. And I say we, I'm talking about myself and my lovely wife over there. And here is what she looks like. And a bad habit that I have when I'm shooting videos is that I tell you what I'm going to do and then I show you what I've done. I don't show you the process. And I try to do that, but sometimes it's just not possible, and this was one of those. But what we did on the boat, first of all, the reason that we pulled out is because the stuffing box, which is on the other side of that prop shaft there and on the other side of the hull, that was not, the bearing that's there was not being lubricated, so it had to be replaced. And I will show you what that looks like once we get inside the boat. But what we ended up doing is we sanded and put some antifoul on the strut here, as well as the rudder. On the rudder, as it was with most of the pieces or components on the boat that that have friction with the water going across it, that's where the paint is first to wear off. So we repainted with 4 coats of antifoul on the rudder and on the strut and along the water line. The water line is what you see here between the black and the blue, and we painted this line of antifoul all the way around the boat. This antifoul, or excuse me, this paint was, if you'll recall, a light blue color, much like this. But anyway, we sanded, taped off, masked, and painted this with a navy blue. And we did that, of course, all the way around. And also with the antifoul, we painted the bow area, because again, you have friction with the water coming across the bow, and that paint does wear off soon. Over on this side, I had a inordinate amount of blisters that was already there or had cropped up since the last time we hauled out and worked on the blisters. So I ended up sanding that down all the way to the gel coat, taking out all the blisters. Then I fiberglassed over it and painted it with the same antifoul. So it's not exactly real pretty below the water, but who cares what's below the water? I don't. So let's go upstairs and access the deck of the boat, which is normally something you can just step on from the dock. And it's, of course, pretty dirty up here, but this is what it looks like. And this is kind of an unusual view from my boat. But up here you can see the marina. You can see other boats that are hauled out. You can see some of the resort areas over there in the distance. And I'm going to carefully walk up the deck and give you a view of things from a bit of altitude. And here's my beautiful deck that has not been stepped on, so it's not dirty. But here's the boat out of the water from the deck view. There's all our supplies, and that is it. So I'll cut here, and when we get back in the slip, I will take you down below and show you the new stuffing box, all pretty and new. Okay, today is splash day. She's going back in the water. So here she is in the sling, and we're headed for the drop area. Very interesting to see these things work. But she's all done, and we're ready to go enjoy the boat now. So now that it's back in the water, the guys are going to go down below and make sure that the repair that they did is watertight and make the necessary adjustments so that the stuffing box drips the appropriate amount. Alright folks, well, we are back in the slip after the haul out, and I've been just kind of reassorting containers and that kind of thing into different parts of the boat, kind of getting everything back in order. But I did want to show you the work that the crew did down at the boatyard on the stuffing box, the bearing, and all that. So let's go down into the hole. And sorry about that. So here you can see the new bearing and compare this to what I showed you earlier in the video. But that is the new bearing. It's nice and clean. It's at static without the prop shaft turning. It's dripping about 1 drop every 20 to 30 seconds. And then when you turn, have the motor running and turn the prop shaft, putting the boat in forward or reverse, it's pretty much a drip about every 2 to 5 seconds. And that's exactly where we want to be. So this will continue to need to be adjusted, but for now, everything is good. So this part of the ongoing saga of Lima Charlie is over, and we're going to move on to new and more exciting things, I hope. All right. If you'll recall, when I left you last time, I was preparing to work on the vanity, and I think we completed that, and then I was going to turn to the other side of the boat and work on the toilet area. And now that has all been done. And in addition to that, I have finished the V-berth. And with that, I have finished the entire interior of the boat. So without further ado, let me show you what I'm talking about. So here is the completed vanity area, which you have seen, and it is done. It's looking good. I have replaced the lenses on all of the port lights now. And here is the beautiful V-berth area, which I painted. If you'll recall, the base was that, the bottom of it was that ugly brown crap color, and now it is a gloss white, and you can see it where it's exposed along the edges. And then I put the new 24-inch square tiles, padded tiles, which I think look real good. They're certainly comfortable if you want to sleep in here. And the shelves here, if you want to call them that, are now laminated. The fiddles are all redone. Painted inside here. This is now our wet locker for PFDs. I painted the front of the V-berth now. And below here, if you'll recall from previous videos, is the Blackwater holding tank, and all of the plumbing, all of the fittings, all of the clamps, everything is brand new. You can see one of the hoses running through here. This is the one that carries sewage from the toilet to the Blackwater holding tank. And so there's no longer that, especially when you get down on the floor here, there's not that sewage smell that kind of oozes out, if you will. Kind of gross, right? But anyway, there's no longer that smell. There's no smell except for new. And then over here you'll see that I installed the shelves that I had mentioned before. I put fiddles on the front here, and so that's now functional, and all of that space is painted behind there. And then finally and lastly is the toilet area. So now this is totally complete, and the difference is just amazing. I ended up taking the toilet out, I ended up taking the base out, I ended up replacing the pump assembly on the toilet. I put in the same kind of faux tile that I had put on the vanity side. Everything's painted, and we're looking really, really good. As far as the toilet operation, and this is another improvement that I made. If you'll recall, I've talked before about how if you use seawater to flush your toilet, the seawater gets into there like that water is there now, which is actually a treated fresh water. But the salt water, there's organisms in that water, and they will die, and consequently you walk in here, you lift the toilet lid, and it smells like dead sea life. And I didn't want that, so I'll show you what I did to alleviate that. But the way that this works is that you push the lever over to the right-hand side, and it pumps the used water, the toilet water, the pee water, through this hose to the Blackwater holding tank. And then when you want to fill up the toilet or put an appropriate amount of water into the toilet. You push the lever over to the other side and you pump, and you'll notice the water coming in there is a nice blue, soapy, clean looking and clean smelling water. And where that comes from is my next piece to show off to you. That comes from over here. What I did is I took a storage container, just a plain old storage container, which has the locks on both ends, and using a glue, a plastic glue, I glued the lid to the container, which is now a reservoir. And I installed a filler cap on here, and I pour sewage treatment, good smelling, the blue stuff, and put it, and then fill it up with water. And that's where the flushing water comes from. And I installed the attach point here and ran a Velcro strap around to hold the reservoir in place. And you can see back there where the hose goes through the bulkhead to the toilet area. This capped off seacock here valve is where the salt water used to come in from the outside and go into the toilet flushing thing, but I do not use that, as I pointed out, so that remains capped off and unused. So I'm very, very happy with the way that system is working. And as I said in the beginning, that completes the interior work on the boat. So everything is wonderful inside, and it's a joy to come in here and just kind of hang out. This is a recent addition that I made to the boat as far as the ability to cook meals. I purchased this oven. It will air fry, it will bake, it will do everything that your oven at home will do. And boy, does it work just fantastic. And it's changed the way that I eat. I eat healthier and prepare better tasting meals. So that is really it.